it's the second half of a double portion. However, this year it's a single portion. But this is normally, Nitzavim was last week. It's usually called Nitzavim Vayelech, a double portion. But today, or this year, it is a single portion. Last week, Nitzavim, this week, Vayelech. This, by the way, is Josh's portion. This is the second part of Josh's portion. But this is like the second to last of the portions of the entire Torah. And then in like 2 weeks from Sunday, we will be rewinding the Torah and dancing with the Torah and celebrating Shemini Atzeret, the conclusion. Okay? So this is actually only one chapter. Vayelech, Deuteronomy 31, 1 to 30. And it sets the stage for the final portion, which will be, by the way, next week. Oh, I'll add this to the announcement. Next Saturday, we will not be meeting here because there is no Torah portion. We will be meeting at the Sukkah. Okay? We'll be meeting outside of the Sukkah next Saturday. Okay? And if it's raining, it'll be inside. But, because of Sukkot, there is no normal... what? Okay, all right. So next week there's no Torah portion, but the week after that is called Ha'azinu. It's the final portion of the year. I think that's right. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, I made a mistake. Next week is Ha'azinu. The week after that, we're not meeting. Okay, we're meeting in the Sukkah the week after that. I'm sorry. Okay, little mistake there. Thank you, Jeff. Because next week, next Saturday, Sukkot begins Sunday evening, so don't get my dates confused. All right, fix that, reverse it. Okay. This portion, actually, I think there's more in the Haftorah than there is in the actual portion. The Haftorah portion is made up of 4 different scriptures, but we're not going to get into that right now. Where does Vayelech come from? The word Yalach. It means to go, to walk, or to come. Moshe went, Vayelech. Okay? Another word that's interchangeable with Yalach is Halach. Halach, just one letter difference. The first one, Yalach, is a Yod. Yod, Lamed, final Chaf. The second one is Hey, Lamed, final Chaf. Hey means to go or to walk or to come. You might think, well, that's the same. And yeah, if you look at the meanings, it means the same, but it's very different. Yalach is more like you go. You're moving. You're doing something, okay? Halach is more like observing. You're doing by observing. That's why we have the Orthodox Jews are called halachic. They follow the letter of the law, halachic. Okay, halachically. They observe it. Okay, Yalach is they're walking. They're walking in holiness. So we're walking in holiness, but we're also learning holiness. And it's only one letter is the difference. And get this. The first word is a Yod, and the second word is a Hey. And if you put those two together, that's the first part of the name of God. That's Yah. Okay? So, in other words, if you want to be complete in God, then walk in holiness and observe holiness. Isn't that cool? I just saw that down. I never made the connection before. You want to share something real quick with that?
I got more.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why I didn't grasp it until just now.
Well, only because I'm going to try to be quick. With the Yod and the Hey, that's Yah, and then you have La for both.
To you.
So it's Lech Lecha.
Yeah, Lecha means to you. Okay, got it. So, okay, Lecha means to you. So, in other words, walk in righteousness to you, for you, and observe righteousness for you. Okay? There's slight difference, but the slight difference is everything. Because people say, let's just be, here's a law, We don't need to do it. But actually, it says in the scriptures, in James chapter 1, don't be a hearer only who deceives himself. Okay? But be a doer of the word. And the doer of the word would be halach. Okay? So it's very interesting. Okay. Now, let's just read 5 verses because there's so much in those 5 verses. It's amazing. So for now, let's just read Deuteronomy 31. One to 5. And I've got my glasses. Stepping out of the picture. Stepping back into picture.
That's pretty choice.
Just a laugh for whoever's watching this on video. Okay. And maybe if they're not watching it now, they will be sometime in the future. Okay. But anyhow, Deuteronomy 31, 1 to 5. Moshe went, VAYELECH Moshe, and he spoke these words to all of Israel. He said to them, of the age of 120 years am I today. In other words, it's his birthday. I cannot any longer go out and come in. For Yehovah has said to me, you shall not cross this Yarden. Yehovah your God, he will cross before you. He will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall possess them. Yehoshua, he shall cross over before you, as Yehovah has spoken. Do will Yehovah to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their land, that he destroyed them. And Yehovah will deliver them before you, and you shall do to them according to the entire commandment that I commanded you. Be strong and courageous. Chizku ve'imtzu. And do not be afraid, and do not be broken in spirit before them, for Yehovah your God, it is he who goes with you. He will not loosen his hold on you, nor will he forsake you. There is so much in that. There's absolutely a whole bunch in that we're going to probably take the next maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes going over it. Okay? What is the word to cross over? I've shared this with you before. Crossover is ever or avar. Okay? This is probably where we get the word ever from, in the English. But ever actually means to cross over. Forever. Get it? Forever. I am for ever. I am for crossing over. Okay, crossing over from what? Crossing over from death to life. Crossing over from the wilderness to the promise. Crossing over from a mortal life to an immortal one. Okay? The Yarden means the descender. But they're crossing the descender. So they're not descending. They're crossing over. Okay? Into the promise, into the inheritance. All of us have an inheritance. We need to cross over into it. And how do we do that? Only through Yeshua. Okay, who's going to lead them across? Joshua. Which is the English way, Yehoshua, interchangeable with Yeshua. So he is a type and shadow. How old is Moshe? 120 years old. How many jubilees there are in 6,000 years? 120. Okay. After 6,000 years comes the Sabbath day. Remember, a day is just 1,000 years. Okay, according to Psalm 90, verse 4, 2 Peter 3, 8. Okay, so we've reached this, we're getting close to that year 6,000 when we cross over into our inheritance. So, do you see the connection here? Moshe represents the wilderness. And we're crossing over to Yeshua. In other words, the Torah led us where? To Yeshua. and Yeshua takes us into the inheritance. You understand that? That might be a little deep. I don't know. Okay. But look at one of the words. I was amazed at one of the names, tuavar, at the bottom of page 1 in your notes. It means to pass over or by or through. It also means to alienate. Isn't that interesting? To bring, carry, do away, take away, transgress, cross over, pass over, march over, overflow. Okay. Pass through. I like alienate because when you follow the truth, the Spirit, you become alienated. Okay? When you cross over, you become alienated because the people are still in the wilderness side and you cross over. So you're having to yell across the Yarden. In symbolic form, of course. You know? Obviously, they wouldn't hear you if you were yelling at one part of the Yarden across to the other. But spiritually speaking, there are people that want to stay in the wilderness. They don't want the promise. And they might say all day long, oh, I want my inheritance. Oh, I want my blessing. Oh, I want my curse. I want my this and that. Okay? But in reality, they can't get it. They can't get it because they are not being led by Yeshua. There's a lot of people that want those things. And they want to claim it, name it, and claim it. But you know what? Ultimately, if their heart wants it and there's no one to teach them, then they might get it that way. But what I'm saying is that if there's someone to teach them the truth and they don't like the truth, they're not going to get it. Because you have to want the truth. Because the inheritance itself is the truth. Yeshua came to lead us into the truth. The Holy Spirit was given as a representative, as an ambassador for Yeshua to bring us to the place of truth. And it's the truth that sets you free. There's no other way. Okay. All right, so let's look at page 2 at the top. Jehovah himself, he says in verse 3. Let me read verse 3 real quick again. Out of the Torah. That would be Deuteronomy 31:3. Jehovah your God, he will cross before you. He will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall possess them. Yeshua, he shall cross over before you, as Jehovah has spoken. Isn't that interesting? First he says, Jehovah your God, he will cross before you. And then he says, Joshua, he shall cross before you. That is something that was placed in there that even though Joshua is a physical picture, he's actually Yeshua. He's telling us the one who goes before you is Yeshua. Okay, because God is going there, and Yeshua is his son. He's going to lead the way. It's a little secret there. A prophetic thing in there that's placed in there. Okay, so how does Jehovah cross the Yarden? When Yeshua came and gave his lifeblood for us, by believing in him, we cross over. And our spiritual Hebrews, I would much rather be called a spiritual, if I was a Gentile, I would much rather be called a spiritual Hebrew than a spiritual Jew. Everybody gets all uptight, and they want to call themselves, Jews, and, that we replace Israel. I think it's more important to be a spiritual Hebrew, to cross over. This is the root word in the Hebrew. It's literally a language of crossing over. The English word over literally comes from avar. Yeshua went before us, and we follow him into our inheritance that he prepared for us. Matthew 25, 33 and 34. And he will put the sheep on. Okay, maybe I went to the wrong one. No, that's the right. No, that's the right one. He will put his sheep on his right and his goats on the left. And the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." Okay, so come into your kingdom. Okay, John 14, 1-7. Do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you. For I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you may also be also. And you know the way where I am going. Now, isn't it interesting? He says, you know the way that I am going. You know what the word way is? That's Yelech. That's the path. That's the same thing, you know. And Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you're going. How do we know the way? Yeshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no one comes to the Father but through me. And then verse 7. If you had known me, you would have known the Father also. For from now on you know him and have seen him. See, this is why. Yehoshua said, I go before you. And then he says, Joshua goes before you. It's a little thing that God placed in there to say, in the future, my son and I are one. And we go into that land. We lead you into that land. Isn't it interesting? I have already told you, Moshe was 120 years old when he died. A type and shadow of the 6,000 years. 120 Jubilees is 6,000 years. Then comes the Sabbath Messianic kingdom. Who leads the children of Israel in? None other than Yehoshua, whose name is interchangeable with Yeshua. What that tells us is that Moshe, which is interchangeable with Torah, should lead us in the wilderness, in our wilderness, along the way of the kingdom. Okay, now, I want you to grasp this. We are still in the wilderness, because Messiah hasn't come to take us into the land yet. We're still in the wilderness. So what are we supposed to be led by? Moses. The Torah. So I like saw this and I'm like, whoa. So why are we in the Torah? Oh, but I have Jesus right now. Yeah, you have Jesus, but Yeshua said, I go away and then you're going to mourn. Okay? Well, why will we mourn if we have Jesus now? According to what Yeshua said, I go away and then you're going to mourn. In other words, you're going to be led by Moshe. He's going to be leading you to me. I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit who's going to lead you into all truth in the Word. But ultimately, we are being carried by the Torah. But seeing it through Yeshua's eyes. Seeing it correctly, that Yeshua is in the Father, and the Father is in Yeshua. We are led by the Torah in the wilderness. That's just the way it is. All of us. Every believer, every Jew. Of course, most Jews who don't believe, they really don't have the fullness of the way. They have a halach. They have the doing of the word, but they don't have the yalach, which is the ability to really live a righteous life. Because without Yeshua, there is no righteousness. It says in Romans, I think it's chapter 9 or 10, they have a righteousness, but it's not a righteousness. Oh, let's read it real quick. Let's read it real quick so I don't misquote it for those online who are watching.
Is it?
Romans, I think it's Romans chapter 10. Yes, Romans chapter 10. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for them, he's talking about Israel, is for their salvation. For I testify about them that they have a zeal for God, but not according with knowledge. For not knowing about God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own, they did not submit themselves to the righteousness of God. For Messiah is the goal of the Torah. And I want you to read it like that. Because the way that King James translated it is evil. It's wrong. They're saying Messiah or Jesus or Christ is the end of the law. That is a lie. That is a mistranslation out of hatred for the Torah. Messiah is the goal. And this, by the way, in Hebrew, the word for end there is telos. It means telescope. Which means when you're looking through the telescope, you're focused on something. That he is the goal of the Torah for righteousness to everyone who believes. For Moshe writes that the man who practices the righteousness which is based on just the letter of the law shall live by that righteousness. Okay, but anyhow, Messiah is the goal of the Torah.
So it said the opposite.
Yeah. We are being guided by the Torah to Yeshua. He's leading us like the scripture, that the goal was that the Father goes before you. And who goes before you? Yeshua. But the Father goes before you. Okay, to prepare a place. He's got a place for us. Okay, so remember, in the ancient times, whenever they would say Moses, they'd be talking about Torah. Moses, the Torah. Let's look at a few other scriptures. Proverbs 60, 20 to 23. I'm sorry, Proverbs 6, 20 to 23. There isn't a 60. Okay. Proverbs 6. Proverbs 6, 20 to 23. My son, observe the commandment of your father, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother. Bind them continually on your heart. Tie them around your neck. When you walk about, they will guide you. See, when you walk, that's yalach. They will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. And when you awake, they will talk to you. I love that. They will talk to you. The instruction of the father, the instruction of the mother, the instruction of the Torah. For the mitzvot, or the commandment, is a lamp and a teaching, and the teaching is light. I love this. And reproofs, or rebuke, for discipline are the way of life. In other words, people want it all so easy. Give me what I like to hear. Okay, not what I need to hear. Okay? And it says the instruction is a lamp and the teaching is light. Who is the light? According to John, Messiah is the light. Everything in the Torah points to Messiah. He's the light. And chapter 7, 1 to 4. Proverbs 7, 1 to 4. My son, keep my words and treasure my commandments within you. Keep my commandments and live, and my teaching, or Torah actually, it says in Hebrew, as the apple of your eye. In other words, the fixed focus of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your intimate friend. Isn't that cool? Call understanding your intimate friend. Call wisdom your sister. They're supposed to be so close to us. We are perfected by the Torah. When the kingdom comes, Yeshua will lead us, and then we will teach Torah to the whole world. Okay? So here's what it's supposed to be about. We are in the age of the wilderness. What are we supposed to be led by? Moses. The Torah. While we're in the wilderness, we're following his calendar. We're doing the things of his Torah. So the kingdom, we will lead by his Torah. We will become teachers in the kingdom. Right now, we're students in the world, but we become teachers in the kingdom. But if we don't learn, and we're not students in the world, guess what's going to happen? I don't care. We're going to be saved, but when we get there, we're going to have to become students. And it's going to be to our shame that we didn't do that. And there will be a lot of repentance upon believers for not following him. You know, for not doing what they should do. Okay, but anyhow, we're all going to be leaders of him. What did he say? I'll raise you up as priests and kings of Messiah. We are going to rule and reign with Messiah. How do we rule and reign? By teaching the precepts, teaching the world the Torah. Along with the Jews, by the way. We're going to be brothers and sisters with all of Israel. There's not going to be any difference. It's just going to be us and Israel. We're going to be all unified together, loving one another, and teaching about Messiah, teaching the Torah in the Torah about Messiah. Okay. Okay, when the kingdom comes, Yeshua will lead us and will teach Torah to the whole world. Okay, proof. Proof of what I'm saying, that we're going to teach Torah to the whole world. Isaiah 2, 1 to 5. Isaiah 2, 1 to 5. The word which Yeshayahu, or Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. It will come about that in the last days the mountain of the house of Yehovah will be established as chief of the mountains, and will be raised above the hills, and all the nations will stream to it. And many peoples will come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. Come, let us go up to the house of the God of Yaakov, that he may teach us concerning his ways. Yalach, but also halach. That we may walk. Okay, actually, let's do it like this. He may teach us concerning his ways, the ways to live in righteousness, Yalach. That we may walk in his paths. This the word halach, to walk in his paths. For the Torah will go forth from Sidon, and the word of Yehovah from Jerusalem, and he will judge between the nations, and he will render decisions for many peoples, and they will gather, and they will hammer their swords at the plowshares, and their spears at the pruning hooks. Nation will not lift up sword against nations, and never again will they learn war. Verse 5, come, house of Yaakov, and let us walk in the light of Yehovah. Okay. The nation of Israel was to be a light to the world in that respect, as a type and shadow of the Messianic kingdom on earth. Did you know that? That Israel in the land was supposed to be a light to the world, to show the world, and come to Israel to learn about truth. Come to Israel. Well, that's why God said, wipe out all the pagans, all the idols, destroy them, because this place is going to be a place of holiness. When you come here, you will learn about the God of Israel. You will learn about the ways of God. You will live a righteous life. You will be cleaned from the inside, from all the lies and the false teachings and all the false gods. Okay, this is the place to go. But Israel later wanted to be just like the world. Just like the rest of the world. And this was how this portion ended. This portion that we're reading today is supposed to be encouraging at first, but then it ends up being, Moses having to tell the people, God says, hey, you're going to go astray and go away from me, and you're going to be, sent out, and all this terrible stuff is going to happen to you because I know your heart. Okay, and the moment Moses is gone, we're going to set up Joshua to lead, but even Joshua, before, when they settled in the land, he said the same thing. You're all going to follow after all the other gods. Because that's what Moses gave to him, and he gave that again to the people. To cause them to say, will you not do that, please? But it's, he knew their hearts. He said that's what's going to happen. Okay, so it was supposed to be the light of the world. But you know what? Us believers haven't done any better. By rejecting the Old Testament, the Scriptures, by rejecting the ways of God, the paths of God, by following the calendar and all that, and taking up the calendar of the world, we have done the same thing that Israel did. We've diluted the gospel. We've dissolved the gospel in the world. But it says that the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world, Yeshua said. At the very end, the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole earth, and then the end will come. So that means there's going to be a restoration, and that's the restoration we're looking for. The bringing the inheritance, bringing everything back, restoration of all things. Yeshua said before he comes, Elijah will come and he will restore all things. So there's going to be coming a restoration of the truth, of the Spirit, of the move of God, everything that God intended for his church. And it's going to all come now. It's very soon. It has to come. Because he said it has to come. Yeshua himself said it. Okay, in the Torah, the body of Messiah is joined to Israel as a light for Messiah in the world. Matthew 5, 13 to 17. I was talking about how all of us are supposed to be teaching, right? Matthew 5, 13 to 17. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has become tasteless, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor does anyone light a lamp. These are the words of Yeshua here. Anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all those in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Do not, now, isn't it interesting? Right after he talks about let people see your good works because it's done with a heart toward God, with the Spirit of God, and glorify your Father. And then he says, don't think that I came to abolish the Torah and the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. Why does he bring that up right at that point? Because the works he's talking about is the Torah. That's the works. That's why he's bringing it out at that moment, the law and the prophets. He said, let the world see your light as you do my Torah with my Spirit, looking to me, Yeshua. Then they will see. That's shining your light. That's being a teacher. That's what we're called to do. To make disciples of all nations, Yeshua said. Well, what does that mean? You're making Talmidim, Torah studiers of all nations. But that's been lost. Guess what? We're here to help the story. This is the time that we are here to destroy it. But look how many people are here, okay? Proves that no one wants this. But that's okay. At some point they will, okay? It might be during tribulation. I don't know. Okay? It might be during great distress. Because it seems like that's the only time people ever respond. When things are going good, they like to party, they enjoy life, like to drink. And they're finding themselves, their souls are going to get lost in that. This is a free country, thank goodness. But I'll tell you something, they are trembling for the truth. In many other countries, we have it so good here. And I recognize that, and that's why we have to battle. We have a battle. Okay, in the Torah, in hearing with joy and love, and doing with our whole hearts is in us, then we have life. Listen, we're not doing this Torah to be religious, to have our routines. We're doing it to look at Him, to know Him, to know our Yeshua, to be led into the inheritance that He has for us. Matthew 6, 19 to 24. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body, so that if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? For one, now I love this, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. He's saying, if you're going to have inside of you light, then you're going to be in my word. You're going to be worshiping me. But if you're going to have darkness in you, you're not going to have any light. You're going to be doing what everybody else is doing. You're going to be caught up in money, making money. You're going to be caught up in having the very best in this life. Let's choose the first one. Let's choose the way of life, to follow the Torah, to teach the Torah to the world, to show that our master is Yehovah, that his son is Yeshua. His light is inside of us. Look at Luke 8, 16 to 18. We're almost done. Now no one, after lighting a lamp, covers it over, or with a container, or puts it under a bed, but he puts it on a lampstand. This is a variation of the other one that I just shared, but it's different. So that those who come in may see the light. For nothing is hidden that will not be evident, nor anything secret that will not be known or come to light. So take care how you listen. For whoever has, to him more shall be given. And whoever does not have, even what he thinks he has, shall be taken away from him. Reason I put that in there is he's referring to the same shine your light. Put it up for all to see. But then he tells us, what you do with what you have will be multiplied. If you do something with what you have. If you think you have something, and you don't pursue any further, and by the way, this is a problem that most of the church has. They think they have something. They go to their seminaries and they get the best training. They study without the Torah, and they think they know. What that person has, what little they have will be taken from them, is what he said. If you do something with what you know, if you do something with that Torah that will shine a light, bring it out for all to see, God will multiply it to you. You know, sometimes I wonder when we have a few people if I'm doing what's right, because it's not being multiplied. But you know what? It's just, we're still in that process. What was that scripture we used earlier? He prunes he doesn't prune it. He corrects those. Discipline is the way of life. We're still in the process of pruning, I think. It's been a long process of pruning, okay? I'm tired of the pruning. But I think we're getting the double amount of pruning. You know why? Because we went through the Shemitah. We went through the Jubilee, and during the Shemitah Jubilee, you do not prune anything. So it was really easy for a few years. And then, boom, and it just like hits and it hits. And it's been going ever since that time ended, by the way. Ever since the Jubilee ended, we have been constantly getting pruned, constantly going through stuff. But you know what? I think we've hit that point. You know, I still always think about my dad planting a prickly pear tree on the ground, really working that ground, making sure no weeds got in there. And a prickly pear, tree, and he nurtured that thing. And it started to produce pears, and then he would cut it. And I said, Dad, why are you cutting it? It's not going to grow anything. And the next year, it didn't grow anything. But the next year, it produced even more pears, and then he trimmed it again. Okay, and I understand what that is. You're getting rid of the unproductive branches. You know, I look at my neighbor's tree, and it's so full of nothing badly needs. For a long time, it badly needed pruning. Okay, because it looks ugly, because everything goes off everywhere, and it doesn't look very nice to look at it. Even some branches look different than others. You know, it's like God wants us to take care of what we have, and He'll multiply that. Okay, but you know what? It might only be one pear the next year, one extra pear on the tree. You know, and some years it won't be anything. Okay, because it's still getting healed. You know, and I think that's what this ministry has been going through. It's been like that, and I kind of wish it would be better. I would like to see a few more pears, but you know, God's in charge. But see, as soon as there were a few more pears, my dad went and he snipped it again. So, you know, so we might get a few more pears and a little bit more snipping. Okay, that's God. He must really love us. It's just, but in ways we can't even comprehend. You know, it's like, what are all these big churches? Are they just like big trees that are not producing anything? I don't know. Maybe there's something there. There's got to be a little bit of something there, right? You know, but it's like I don't think they allow him to snip, you know, to cut. So anyhow, so the goal is the coming kingdom is the kingdom of Torah, Yeshua, Moshe. John 5. Let's finish with John 5, 33 to 47. Well, second to finish. Okay. You have sent to John, and he has testified the truth. These are the words of Yeshua, by the way. But the testimony which I received is not from man, but I say these things so that you may be saved. He was a lamb. Now this is Yeshua talking about Yochanan, the immerser or the Baptist. He was the lamp that was burning and was shining, and you were willing to rejoice for a while in his life. But the testimony which I have is greater than that of Yochanan, John. For the works which the Father has given me to accomplish, The very works that I do testify about me, that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me, he has testified to me. You have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his form. You do not have his word abiding in you, for you do not believe him whom he sent. I may have, this may have run out of power. Yeah, it's run out of power. Okay, if you could bring a battery over, we'll continue this in a moment. It's the first time that's happened.
It happened.
Thank you.
Nada.
Look a little bit quiet there and online. Okay. All right, there we go. Sound. Praise the Lord. Okay. All right, John. Back to John 5. Where are we at? Okay. Okay, he said, you do not have, as the Father sent me, he has testified of me. This is verse 37, 38 of chapter 5. You have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his form. You do not have his word abiding in you, and for you do not believe him whom he sent. Now, get this, verse 39. You search the scriptures because you think, now, what scriptures? There was no New Testament yet, so we're talking about the New Scriptures. You search the scriptures because you think that in them you have eternal life. It is these that testify about me. And you are unwilling to come to me so that you may have life. I do not receive glory from men, but I do know you, that you do not have the love of God in yourselves. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, you will receive him. How can you believe when you receive glory from one another, and you do not seek the glory that is from the one and only God? Do not think that I will accuse you before the Father. The one who accuses you is Moses, Moshe, in whom you have set your hope. For if you believe Moshe, you will believe me, for he wrote about me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words? So he's saying everything that Moshe was points to me. Everything that's written in the scriptures points to me. Everything that's written in the Torah points to me. Okay? This is the kingdom of the Torah. Yeshua is going to be the king. He is the Word of God. He is the Torah. He is the scriptures. He is Moshe. Okay? So thinking about that, I mean, there it is. Okay? We are getting ready for a kingdom ruled by the king who is the Torah. So we're going to be teaching him. The Torah will go forth from Jerusalem. Come, let us go up to the house of the Lord and learn his ways. So, just a few other things here. In Deuteronomy 31:6-8, he said, be strong and be courageous. Chazak, courageous, amatz. Do not be afraid, yareh. Do not be broken, aratz. Broken in spirit before your enemies. For Jehovah your Elohim is he who goes before you. He will not loosen. This is from Deuteronomy 31:6-8. He will not loosen his hold on you, nor will he forsake you. What did Yeshua say? I will not leave you or forsake you. Yeshua is the Torah. When he said that, he wasn't saying, I'm creating something new. Now you're going to worship me, and I will not leave you or forsake you. He said, I'm the Torah. I will not leave you, and I will not forsake you. He's the same thing. Okay, so we need to remember we are under the care of Jehovah. He knows each of the areas that we are growing into, and he will keep us safe. But in order for that to happen, we need to let him lead. Okay, now you're in the wilderness. You have to let him lead you in the wilderness. What will he lead you by? A cloud by day and a fire by night. He will keep you covered so that you won't get hot during the day. He will cover you with the fire at night so you won't freeze at night. He's there with you. We need to trust in him. He said he never leaves us or forsake us. And I have all these scriptures here at the bottom of page 2 that kind of explain that show how he never leaves us or forsakes us in the Hebrew scriptures and in the New Covenant. And I have a breakdown of all the words. for you to understand what it means. Chazak, amatz, yarei aratz. Don't be, he said, be strong, be courageous, or secure, confident and secure, brave. Don't be afraid. Okay, don't tremble at the enemy. Okay, no matter what happens. He said, I wiped out Og, king of Bashan, for you. I wiped out Sihon, king of the Amorites, for you. I killed 2 giants for you. And said, do you think that a giant is a problem for me? You watch what I will do for you. You trust me. Go into the land. Go into your inheritance. Don't be afraid of what they will do to you or say to you. Don't be moved by what they say to you. I remember the story of Sennacherib when Nehemiah and Ezra were building the walls. The enemy came and Sennacherib, or maybe I'm getting that confused. Okay, I'm a little bit like out of time here, out of sync. This is later with Sennacherib. That was another thing too. They were also trying to discourage the building of the walls of Jerusalem. But there was another time, I think it was under Hezekiah, that the leader of the Assyrians were threatening to take Judah away, to kill Judah. But it wasn't God's will for that to happen. Babylon later would take them away. But Sennacherib was the one, I think, from the Assyrians threatening. We are not to be moved by the threats of the enemy. Like right now, Iran is threatening the annihilation of Israel. Of course, they're always threatening the annihilation of Israel, but right now they're really they're actually surrounding their borders, the borders of Israel, just where they can be, and making threats. So it's dangerous. Keep Israel at the center of your prayers, always. Okay. I have here on the top of page 5 for your own information. That there's a prophecy here about at the end of 7 years, and that is from Deuteronomy 31, 10 to 13. So let's look at that real quick. Because we didn't read that part. 31, 10 to 13. Moshe commanded them, saying, at the end of 7 years, at the time of the year of the remission during the festival of Sukkot, when come all of Israel to be seen before Yehovah your God in a place that he will select, you shall read the Torah facing all of Israel in their ears. Gather together the people, the men, the women, the small children, and the stranger who is in your city gates, so that they will hear, and so that they will learn, and they shall fear Yehovah your God, and they will be careful to perform all the words of this Torah. And the children who do not know, they shall hear and they shall learn to fear Yehovah your God all the days that you live upon the land that you're going over, crossing over, and there, the Jordan there to possess it. In other words, they're learning the Torah. They remember, he's telling them, I tell you on this date, you're to remember the Torah. You remember my promises because you will defeat your enemies. Okay? You remember the word. It's going to keep you from getting lazy. It's going to keep you from worshiping the idols and all that. Okay? But he says at the end, miketz, of 7 years. Okay? When you go into the land, you're rehearsing. That's very interesting. After 7,000 years, the kingdom is going to be from the year 6,001 to 7,000. After 7,000 years comes the New Jerusalem. So ultimately, in here we have the inheritance. Whenever it says at the end, it's talking about the end, when it's all finished. There's going to be a new day. It's going to be a new Jerusalem and a new creation and a new heavens and new earth. Even all the stars that we've been talking about and the constellations are all going to be changed. They're all going to be different. It's all going to be full of light, the whole universe. Okay? And so it's going to be very different. So he's giving them, he's telling them that there's a new beginning. Okay? Always remember, that land, that promise, that inheritance is a type and shadow of the whole new beginning God has for all of mankind, for the whole creation. So even though we're talking about it, the coming of the kingdom relating to the inheritance, it also represents after the kingdom, when there'll be a whole new creation. So that's the type and shadow of it. There'll be peace throughout the kingdom, except at the very end, the enemy will come back for a little bit. But basically, it's like right now, we have the enemy all around us in this world, and we're looking for a kingdom of peace and God's kingdom to come, and we're waiting for that inheritance. And we're being led by the Torah to that point. And after, when the kingdom actually comes and that gets fulfilled, after the kingdom will be an even greater new thing that God does. And that's what it's talking about at the end, to remember what God did for you. Always remember what God does for us. And I guess that'll be it for now. This next week we're going to cover Ha'azina, which is going to be a prophecy. It's called the Song of Moses. Okay, so we're going to sing the Song of Moses next week. Okay, and I mean, I'm not sure exactly what we'll sing the Song of Moses, but basically, it's you heard that song, the Song of Moses and the Song of the Lamb, thunderous praises of one new man. Song of Moses and the Song of the Lamb. Okay, so it's prophetic. We'll talk about that next week. Abba, I ask in the name of Yeshua, Lord, that you would just seal this up in our hearts, Abba. We are getting ready for a beautiful kingdom. Lord, we are led by your Torah and led by Moses in the Spirit. We're seeing Yeshua. We're learning about Yeshua in the Torah. Abba, I ask that you keep us safe on that path and protected. I ask that you cover us like you did with Israel, with a cloud by day and a fire by night. That you would lead us all on this path. Abba, that you would bless us, Lord. Abba, as we seek, even if we don't have a lot of people here, Lord, just you said where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Abba, please bless us and strengthen us and take care of every need of everybody that's here with us, Lord. I ask, Lord, that you take care of every health issue. Do miraculous, do wondrous things, Abba, like you did with Israel in the wilderness, Lord. And so that we can be ready, Lord. I ask, Lord, that you would teach us, Lord, so that we could be teachers in the kingdom. Because we want to do your will. We want to work with our Messiah in the kingdom when he rules and reigns over this earth. In the name of Yeshua.